Real. Now, as far as the Travers goes, they are drawing that Tuesday night, and we will have the betting Bible for the Travers available at racenews.com later this week. So, I got to ask you, too early to tell. We don't know the field. Who's your pick for the Travers?
I want to see how the pace is going to be, right? My immediate inclination is to say Forte, which would make sense because he's my number 2 horse. I will say this. My number 1 horse out of this weekend will still be Go Rocket Ride. There's nothing Forte can do to make me feel that he's not as good as Go Rocket Ride. Even if he freaks, I can't put him up there because, well, let me rephrase that. If he freaks better than Go Rocket Ride's Haskell, I will consider putting him up there. But until we see something like that, I like, to me, Go Rocket Ride seems like one of those guys who is just, or one of those horses. I'm sorry, Forte is one of those horses who just loves to win and kind of plays down to the competition in a lot of ways versus like just you're seeing the best version of this horse every single time, because we see him turn on that light when they turn for home and go and get whoever's in front of him, which is a wonderful trait for a horse to have. But you never see him just win by 8. And every now and then, I wish he would just win by 8 and you'd see the full talent of Forte. But yeah, at this point, like for me, if it depends on how the pace plays out, because I'm a little interested in someone going gate to wire, because Mage, because Forte, because Angel of Empire, all these horses, Arcangelo, are all going to want to come from off the pace. And so the question is, who's going to be in the lead? Is it going to be Scotland? Are we going to see someone else in there? So we'll see what the lineup projects as. But right now, like I would take Forte, but we'll see what the price is too. Like I don't want to take too short of a price on Forte, on Mage, or on Arcangelo, because I think it's a competitive race and a race where you can take a shot.
Forte for sure will be the favorite in this spot. A couple questions for you about the Travers I want to ask you. First of all, Scotland to go gate to wire. How do you think that's going to be a pretty strong possibility from what we saw from the Curlin winner?
We'll see who else is in there. Saudi Crown, I don't believe is going to be in there. Like, nope. There's no other projected early speed that I've heard. And we saw what Saudi Crown was able to do in the Jim Dandy when you're a lone projected speed. Scotland, like, again, these are horses that I think were right on the fringe of being in that top 5. And if they're that good and they get loose, that makes them exponentially more difficult. It's going to be interesting to see how close Mage sits. It's going to be interesting to see how close Forte sits and what the decision is from those jockeys. We saw Forte sit closer in the Jim Dandy. I would expect you're going to see him closer again here. Mage has the ability to be a pace presence, but has not really been a pace presence in any of his races since he broke his maiden. It'd be interesting to see what happens there. I mean, a lot of the love for Mage in the Fountain of Youth and the Florida Derby was because he could go gate to wire. Like, that was one of the reasons people loved Mage in those races. And Mage didn't break, and so you never saw that. So if we see that version of Mage again, I think that's a little bit interesting as well. But someone's got to press Scotland, because 2 turns at Saratoga, going gate to wire is a very dangerous thing, as randomized would tell you. Like, it's a good place to be at Saratoga, is on the lead when you're going 2 turns.
Yeah, I think Scotland projects to be the leader. National Treasure, you could see try and also go gate to wire. Reincarnate is not, I mean, he's just kind of a lumbering goofball up there. Another thing to be interesting, Tapit Trice, we've been saying for ages, needs to wear blinkers. They put blinkers on him in his final work, and Jose Ortiz, who's going to be his rider for the Travers, was aboard. Said it seemed to focus him. Any love for Tapit Trice adding blinkers in the Travers?
I mean, wouldn't it just be so fitting if he won this race by like 2 lengths? Just by open lengths? Just
I'm a little worried about it. Yeah.
Look, if you want, this is probably the race to bet Tapit Trice if you're a Tapit Trice fan. Like, hate has probably gone too far now, because the talent is still there. The turn of foot is missing, but the distance is favorable for Tapit Trice here. Adding the blinker should be a favorable thing. We'll see how close the horse can sit. I don't mind the jockey change here. So we'll see. But if you're getting 15-1 when they walk into the gate, this is probably the right race to bet Tapit Trice. I won't be one of the people betting Tapit Trice, but it's probably the right race to do so.
I mean, I'm worried. When I saw that they added it, I was like, okay, we've been saying they need to add blinkers to this horse for a long time. It could be Tapit Trice time.
I mean, again, like, if you're getting 15-1, if you're getting 20-1 on Tapit Trice, I'm not going to tell you not to bet on him. I just probably won't be running to the window either.
If you're Javier Castellano, did you make the right choice going with Arcangelo over Mage? Because now you've got Castellano's going to choose Arcangelo. Luis Saez is taking Mage, which is how we open up the door on this horse.
I don't think he chose. from the sounds of it, Castellano was still waiting to make a choice, and Mage's group just said, all right, screw this. We're just getting someone before we lose Mage. Or before we lose Castellano, we don't have anyone to put on Mage.
Interesting. Well, I mean, Saez was aboard Mage when he almost won the Florida Derby. Yeah, and that was the best effort we'd seen in a long time, or possibly the best effort other than the Kentucky Derby that we've seen out of that horse.
So, and Saez went to, what was it, Kingsbarns, I think, in the Derby? Or was that Jose ran Kingsbarns?
Saez went back to Tapit Trice. Jose was on Kingsbarns, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure, yeah, I think this is that Mage's connections weren't happy that Castellano wouldn't commit to one or the other, and so they said, screw it, we're going to go get a top jockey before we lose a chance at one. And they're the ones who made the move to take Saez, and then he was left with Arcangelo, which I thought was really interesting. I would have picked Mage. I wouldn't be shocked if Arcangelo is a very, very good horse. I just still need to see it again, because I thought everything went perfect for him in a race he was bred for. And that's why it's tough.
Jose Ortiz is going to ride Tapit Trice. He was on him in his morning work over the weekend. It's also something like Forte is going to keep the blinkers, which I thought were a good help for the Jim Dandy. Let's see. Arcangelo, Forte, Mage, Tapit Trice. Disarm is considered for the Travers, Scotland, and Il Miracolo. So a couple of good magics, a couple of gun runners in there as well. So, and of course, violence. In there.
Will be the favorite, by the way. I mean, kind of fun that there are multiple violences that could have been the 3-year-old that could have made the top 5. Well, I guess there's really just one. Race Kane can't really make it, but he's by violence too. But he was never in the top 5.
Yeah.
Probably. Go ahead. I was going to say, this is the best version of Travers we've had in what, 10, 15 years? I can't think of a field that was this strong in a while.
From top to bottom this strong, no. I mean, I would say you'd have to go back to 2017 at least, right? The last time you had all 3 Triple Crown race winners in it. So easily the best, talent-wise, the deepest from that perspective. RacingDudes.com is your home for the best free picks for every race, every track. Summer's here, our picks are heating up. We want you to join us in the fun. Subscribe to the Racing Dudes YouTube channel right now. Click the notification bell. You don't want to miss a single one of our awesome videos. Want to make money betting horses? Bet with the Racing Dudes.